Have you ever wondered why some people effortlessly attract wealth while others remain trapped in financial struggle despite working twice as hard? The secret might be more surprising and closer to you than you realize. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with messages about what success looks like. Fancy cars, luxurious homes, exotic vacations, all external symbols we're taught to chase. But what if I told you that true financial abundance has almost nothing to do with these? External pursuits and everything to do with an internal transformation that most people never experience. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world, and if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever felt a deep stirring within, a sense that you're meant for something greater than your current financial situation allows? That persistent voice inside suggesting your potential extends far beyond your bank account? This isn't random discontent. It's your higher consciousness trying to align you with your true wealth potential. The wealthiest individuals throughout history share a common trait that has nothing to do with their background, education, or connections. They've accessed a hidden understanding, a prosperity consciousness, that fundamentally changes how the universe responds to them. And here's the extraordinary part. This wisdom only reveals itself when you're truly ready to receive it. Think about it. Why do lottery winners so often end up broke within a few years? Why do some entrepreneurs thrive during economic downturns, while others with similar businesses fail? The difference isn't strategy, it's state of being. Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to share could completely transform your relationship with money. This isn't about positive thinking exercises or visualization techniques you've heard before. It's about activating a dormant power within your consciousness that literally reorganizes your financial reality from the inside out. When most people try to improve their finances, they focus entirely on external actions, working more hours, cutting expenses, chasing higher returns. But that's like trying to change your reflection by adjusting the mirror instead of changing what's being reflected. Has this ever happened to you? You set financial goals with genuine intention, take all the right actions, yet still find yourself facing the same money challenges months or years later. That's because true financial transformation begins with something deeper, a fundamental shift in your energetic relationship with abundance. What you're about to discover might surprise you. The universe operates according to precise laws that most people never learn to harness. When your internal frequency aligns with prosperity, opportunities begin appearing that were always there but remained invisible to your previous consciousness. If you're ready to continue this journey of financial transformation, hit that subscribe button now. Join our community of prosperity-minded individuals who are rewriting their wealth stories from the inside out. You see, there's a profound truth that most people dismiss as mere motivational fluff, but it's actually the most precise formula for wealth creation ever discovered. This hidden wisdom has been passed down quietly through generations, safeguarded by those who understood its true power. It's not taught in schools or universities. You won't find it in conventional financial advice columns, and that's by design. This knowledge operates on a different frequency than the typical work hard and save mentality most people are programmed to follow. It's about understanding the invisible architecture behind manifestation, the blueprint that determines why some individuals seem to magnetize opportunities while others repel them despite equal or greater effort. Consider for a moment, the wealthiest individuals throughout history often share a peculiar trait. Many of them speak of moments of revelation, decisive turning points when something clicked internally before their external circumstances shifted. This isn't coincidence. It's evidence of the transformation that happens when someone's consciousness evolves to receive this hidden wisdom. The journey toward financial abundance begins with a startling realization. Your current financial condition is merely the physical manifestation of your internal programming. Every belief you hold about money, every assumption about what's possible for someone like you, every thought pattern regarding prosperity, these aren't just passive ideas. They're active forces continuously molding your financial reality. This explains why two people can encounter identical opportunities with dramatically different outcomes. One person's mind instantly generates reasons why it won't work, while the other's consciousness automatically calculates pathways to success. Same external reality, entirely different internal filter, and that filter determines everything. The revelations that accompany this hidden knowledge often challenge everything conventional wisdom has taught us about wealth creation. Most people operate backward. They believe they need to see the money first, then they'll believe prosperity is possible for them, and only then will they feel wealthy. But every person who has created lasting abundance understands the sequence works in reverse. First comes the internal conviction, the unshakable belief that wealth isn't just possible, but inevitable. Then follows the feeling of already being prosperous, even before the external evidence appears. And only then does the physical manifestation follow as a natural consequence of this internal transformation. Behind the scenes, what's happening is a fundamental recalibration of your relationship with abundance. Your thoughts aren't just random mental activity, they're powerful creative forces that, when harnessed properly, begin reshaping your entire financial landscape from the inside out. The wealthy don't just think differently about money. They exist in a completely different reality, where abundance flows naturally because their consciousness has been programmed to expect it, recognize it, and allow it. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this mysterious process actually works and why it remains hidden from most people who desperately need to understand it. The moment you truly grasp that your mind operates on a specific frequency, everything about wealth creation starts making sense. Just as a radio must be tuned to the right station to receive clear signals, your consciousness must vibrate at the frequency of abundance to attract financial opportunities. When your mind consistently resonates with thoughts of possibility, creativity, and expectation of success, the world around you begins responding in ways that seem almost magical. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible. People who can help you appear in your life at precisely the right moment. Resources that seemed impossible to access start flowing toward you naturally. The journey of transformation begins when you recognize the profound truth behind wealth creation. When you master your internal world, when you gain complete control over your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, the external world has no choice but to surrender to your vision. This isn't wishful thinking or metaphysical nonsense. It's the observable reality that successful individuals have been leveraging for centuries. Write in the comments, "My mind is my wealth creator," if you're starting to see how this internal transformation is the real key to financial freedom. The moment you truly grasp this concept, a profound shift occurs in your understanding. What we're revealing here transcends conventional wisdom about wealth. It's about an awakening that happens at the soul level. Most people spend their entire lives searching for external solutions to internal misalignments, constantly chasing circumstances they believe will finally bring prosperity. But the transformation journey begins with a revolutionary realization. Financial abundance emerges naturally when your soul's deepest yearnings align with your conscious actions. This alignment creates a resonance within your being that literally reshapes reality around you. Think about how often we witness someone who seems to have everything figured out on paper, the right education, connections, and strategies, yet they remain trapped in financial struggle. Meanwhile, Others with seemingly fewer advantages appear to manifest opportunities effortlessly. The difference lies in this: hidden alignment, not in the external factors most people fixate upon. The revelation that changes everything is recognizing that this isn't about positive thinking or visualization techniques, though these have their place. This is about awakening a dormant power that already exists within you, a power that has been waiting for your consciousness to evolve enough to access it. It's similar to how electricity existed long before humans discovered how to harness it. The power of financial creation has always been within you, dormant, until your awareness reaches the threshold necessary to activate it. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this fundamental truth: when your soul refuses to tolerate a life of quiet desperation any longer, when your heart makes the irrevocable decision to grow beyond current limitations, something miraculous happens. The universe responds not to what you say you want, but to who you've become. This is the watershed moment, when the hidden knowledge begins to emerge like a whisper from your depths. The journey toward financial mastery is, at its core, a journey of self-discovery. The wealthy understand something that escapes the masses. Abundance isn't something to be pursued externally, but awakened internally. This perspective shift transforms how you interpret every experience. Setbacks become vital data points rather than reasons to quit. Obstacles become growth opportunities rather than barriers. Rejection becomes redirection rather than failure. What's fascinating about this process is how it operates on multiple dimensions simultaneously. At the conscious level, you're making clearer decisions aligned with prosperity. At the subconscious level, your perception filters begin highlighting opportunities previously invisible to you. At the soul level, you experience a profound integration where your deepest purpose aligns with your financial expression. The impact of this alignment manifests in surprising ways. Many people report experiencing synchronicities, meaningful coincidences that seem almost orchestrated. The right person calls at precisely the right moment. A perfect opportunity presents itself just as you become ready for it. Information you need appears exactly when you need it. These aren't random occurrences. They're evidence of your newly aligned consciousness interacting with reality in a fundamentally different way. This channel is dedicated to people who are serious about transforming their financial reality. Subscribe now to access powerful insights that build on these foundational principles to help you create lasting wealth. Most people mistakenly believe that wealth requires becoming someone different from who they truly are. The liberating truth is that authentic abundance emerges when you become more fully yourself, when your external actions align perfectly with your soul's deepest truth. This integration creates a channel through which prosperity flows naturally, without the resistance created by internal conflict. Now, I want to explore the hidden mechanism that transforms this aligned state of being into tangible financial results. There's a profound distinction between those who simply learn about these principles and those who embody them so completely that their entire reality reorganizes around this new vibration. This distinction explains why some people seem to magnetize wealth, while others struggle despite understanding the same concepts intellectually. When you examine the lives of individuals who create extraordinary abundance, you'll notice they operate according to a different set of assumptions about how reality works. They understand that money is merely one form of energy exchange in a universe made entirely of energy. They recognize that their primary task isn't manipulating external circumstances, but maintaining the internal frequency that naturally attracts prosperity. Write in the comments, "I choose alignment over struggle," if you're beginning to sense how this soul-level integration might transform your own financial reality. Let me share something profound with you that most people immediately dismiss as motivational fluff. Yet it's actually the most precise wealth creation formula ever discovered. Everything the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Your logical brain likely wants to reject this as wishful thinking right now. That skeptical voice inside is questioning whether something so simple could possibly be true. And that's exactly why this wisdom remains hidden from the masses. This isn't some feel-good platitude created by self-help gurus. It's a mathematical equation that has been tested and proven by every person who has ever transformed their financial destiny. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that this formula operates with absolute precision, like gravity. It doesn't care whether you believe in it or not. It's always working, either for you or against you, depending on how you've programmed your mental operating system. Think about this carefully. Every billionaire, every successful entrepreneur, every person who has broken free from financial limitation has operated according to this exact principle, whether they consciously realized it or not. The difference between them and everyone else isn't intelligence, education, or opportunity. It's their understanding that wealth creation is fundamentally an inside job. The journey toward financial mastery requires a radical paradigm shift. Most people have been conditioned to believe that their circumstances create their thoughts and feelings. The hidden truth is that the sequence works in reverse. Your thoughts and feelings create your circumstances. This isn't metaphysical nonsense. It's the observable reality of how human psychology interfaces with the external world. At this pivotal moment, you stand at a genuine crossroads. One path leads to continuing. The same patterns that have kept you financially bound, waiting for external circumstances to change before you can feel abundant. The other path requires embracing the profound wisdom that's only available to those whose consciousness has evolved enough to receive it, understanding that abundance begins within. The transformation starts when you recognize that your current financial situation is nothing more than the physical manifestation of your previous thought patterns. Every belief you hold about money, every assumption about what's possible for you, every expectation about financial struggle or ease, these aren't just passive observations. They're active, creative forces shaping your reality in real time. Behind the scenes of every wealth journey is this fundamental decision point. Will you continue giving your power away to external circumstances, or will you reclaim your role as the conscious creator of your financial experience? Will you remain trapped in the illusion that money controls your life, or will you awaken to the truth that your consciousness controls your money? What makes this decision so powerful is that it completely reorients your relationship with opportunity. When you genuinely understand that prosperity begins with your internal state, you stop desperately chasing external solutions and start cultivating the mindset that naturally magnetizes abundance. You become the kind of person who doesn't need to pursue wealth because wealth naturally pursues you. The impact of this shift reveals itself in fascinating ways. You'll notice opportunities appearing that were invisible to you before, not because they weren't there, but because your consciousness wasn't attuned to perceive them. You'll find yourself having conversations that coincidentally lead to breakthrough possibilities. You'll discover resources becoming available precisely when you need them most. Now, I want to go even deeper into what happens when you fully embrace this hidden formula. There's a profound distinction between intellectually understanding these principles and embodying them so completely that they become your default operating system. When your entire being aligns with this truth, you experience what can only be described as a quantum leap in your financial reality. The journey toward wealth mastery isn't about learning more information. It's about integrating what you already know at such a deep level that your thoughts, emotions, and actions automatically align with prosperity. It's about reprogramming your subconscious mind to expect abundance rather than scarcity, to recognize opportunity rather than obstacle, to feel worthy rather than undeserving. Write in the comments, "I am the creator of my financial reality," if you're beginning to see how this formula might transform everything about your relationship with money. Let's examine this principle more closely. What we're discussing isn't some vague motivational concept. It's a precise mathematical formula that produces consistent results when applied correctly. Think about the most successful wealth creators in history. Whether we're talking about industrial titans of the past century or today's tech billionaires, they all share this common understanding that most people miss entirely. The revelation that changes everything is this: wealth creation follows an exact sequence, and most people have been taught to approach it backward. Abundance doesn't start with your bank account, job title, or circumstances. It begins with a mental state, the absolute certainty that you not only can have wealth, but that you already possess the capacity to create it. This isn't positive thinking or wishful affirmations. This is about recognizing that abundance is never an external goal you chase, but always an internal consequence of how you think, feel, and perceive your relationship with prosperity. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this hidden truth. Your mind operates as a powerful broadcasting station, constantly sending signals about what you believe is possible for your financial life. These signals create resonance patterns that either attract or repel opportunities, depending on their frequency. When your mind consistently broadcasts scarcity, limitation, and doubt, you literally cannot recognize abundance opportunities even when they're right in front of you. The journey toward mastery begins with reversing the sequence most people follow. The masses believe that first they need to see the money, then they'll believe it's possible, and only then will they feel wealthy. But everyone who has ever created lasting abundance knows the sequence works in reverse. First comes the internal conviction, the unshakable belief that wealth is not only possible, but inevitable. Then comes the feeling of already being prosperous, even before external evidence appears. Finally, the physical manifestation follows as a natural consequence of this internal transformation. This explains one of the most perplexing phenomena in financial psychology: why lottery winners often lose everything within a few years. Their external circumstances changed dramatically, but their internal relationship with money remained exactly the same. They never developed the consciousness of wealth, so they unconsciously sabotaged their success to return to their familiar level of financial comfort. The transformation begins when you grasp that your thoughts about money aren't just random mental chatter. They're actual creative forces shaping your reality in real time. Every assumption about what's possible for you, every belief about your worthiness to receive abundance, every expectation about whether financial success comes easily or with struggle. These aren't passive observations, but active instructions to your subconscious mind about what kind of financial reality to create. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this mysterious process actually works on a neurological and psychological level. When you truly understand the mechanics behind this wealth formula, you gain access to levers of financial creation that most people never even know exist. You begin to see how the wealthy don't just think differently about money. They exist in a completely different reality where abundance flows naturally because their consciousness has been programmed to expect it, recognize it, and allow it. The impact of this understanding transforms everything about how you approach wealth creation. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to manipulate external circumstances, you focus on maintaining the internal state that naturally magnetizes abundance. Rather than chasing opportunity, you become the kind of person to whom opportunity is naturally attracted. Instead of seeing financial success as a destination you might someday reach, you recognize it as an expression of who you've already become internally. Write in the comments, "I've reversed the wealth sequence," if you're beginning to see how this different approach to the manifestation process might transform your financial reality. What most people fail to grasp about wealth is that your current financial situation isn't a reflection of your worthiness, your skills, or even your past actions. It's simply a physical manifestation of your previous thought patterns and beliefs about prosperity. This revelation transforms everything because it means your financial future isn't determined by external factors, but by the internal blueprint you're designing right now through your consciousness. Think about the profound implication of this truth. Abundance doesn't require you to have the perfect strategy, connections, or timing. It begins with the absolute certainty that wealth isn't something you need to chase, but something you already have the capacity to create. This isn't about positive affirmations or wishful thinking. It's about recognizing that your relationship with prosperity operates from the inside out, not the outside in. The journey toward financial breakthrough often stalls because people approach the entire process backward. They believe they need to see the money first, then they'll believe it's possible for them, and only after that will they allow themselves to feel wealthy. But this sequence defies the fundamental laws of creation. Every person who has ever manifested lasting abundance understands that the true sequence works in reverse. First comes the unshakable conviction, the internal knowing that your prosperity is inevitable, regardless of current circumstances. This isn't delusional thinking. It's aligning with a higher order of reality beyond temporary appearances. Next comes the feeling state, experiencing the emotions of already having achieved your financial goals before external evidence supports it. And only then, as a natural consequence of these internal shifts, does the physical manifestation appear in your tangible reality. This explains one of the most perplexing mysteries in wealth psychology, why external windfalls rarely create lasting transformation. Consider lottery winners who end up broke within years, or inheritance recipients who squander family fortunes. Their bank accounts changed dramatically, but their internal relationship with money remained exactly the same. They never developed the consciousness of wealth, so they unconsciously sabotaged their abundance to return to their familiar state of financial identity. The breakthrough moment in your financial evolution comes when you truly internalize that your thoughts about money aren't merely passive observations. They're active creative forces continuously molding your financial reality. Every assumption about what's possible for you, every belief about your worthiness to receive, every expectation about whether money comes with struggle or ease, these are literally programming your future experience in real time. Think about how this hidden mechanism operates in your daily life. When you encounter a potential opportunity, your subconscious mind instantly runs it through your existing beliefs about prosperity. If those beliefs include limitations like "things never work out for me" or "making money is always a struggle," your mind will either prevent you from seeing the opportunity entirely or sabotage your ability to capitalize on it. Not because you lack capability, but because allowing success would contradict your existing programming. Now I want to go even deeper into the neuroscience behind this wealth transformation process. What happens in your brain when you begin reversing the manifestation sequence is nothing short of revolutionary. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for filtering millions of sensory inputs, begins prioritizing information that aligns with your new prosperity consciousness. Opportunities that were always present but previously filtered out of your awareness suddenly become visible. The journey involves a profound identity shift that few people are willing to undertake. Most remain trapped seeking tactical financial solutions while maintaining the same internal blueprint that created their current circumstances. But those who experience true wealth transformations understand that prosperity isn't something you pursue, it's something you become. The question isn't, how do I get more money, but who must I become that wealth would be the natural consequence. This identity-level transformation creates ripple effects throughout every aspect of your financial life. Your decision-making improves because you're operating from abundance rather than scarcity. Your creativity flourishes because you're no longer constrained by limitation thinking. Your ability to recognize opportunities expands dramatically because your perception filters have been reprogrammed to see possibilities instead of problems. Write in the comments, "I'm reversing my wealth sequence now," if you're beginning to recognize how this internal transformation might be the missing piece in your financial evolution. The transformation in your financial reality begins with a fundamental shift in understanding. This isn't just a new strategy or tactic, it's a complete reversal of how manifestation actually works. Most people spend their entire lives waiting for external proof before they'll allow themselves to believe prosperity is possible for them. But the hidden sequence of wealth creation operates in precisely the opposite direction. First comes the unshakable belief, not hope, not wishful thinking, but absolute certainty that your abundance is inevitable regardless of current appearances. This belief isn't based on external evidence, but on your connection to the creative power of your own consciousness. Next emerges the feeling state, experiencing the emotional reality of prosperity before physical circumstances reflect it. This isn't pretending or fantasizing, it's accessing the causal realm where all manifestation originates. Only after these internal shifts have occurred does the physical manifestation naturally follow as their inevitable consequence. This reversed sequence explains one of the most perplexing mysteries in wealth psychology: why sudden financial windfalls rarely create lasting transformation. Consider the well-documented phenomenon of lottery winners who return to bankruptcy within years of receiving millions. Their bank accounts dramatically changed, but their internal blueprint, their subconscious programming about money, remained exactly the same. The revelation that transforms everything is understanding that your consciousness operates as a powerful attractor field. Your beliefs, expectations, and assumptions about prosperity aren't just passive observations. They're active creative forces continuously reshaping your financial reality. When lottery winners lose everything, they're not experiencing bad luck. They're experiencing the inevitable consequence of maintaining a consciousness that isn't aligned with wealth, regardless of temporary external circumstances. The journey toward financial mastery requires a profound identity evolution. Most people identify with their current financial situation, believing, "This is just how things are for me." But those who experience breakthrough understand that your circumstances don't define your identity. Your identity creates your circumstances. Wealth isn't something that happens to you by chance. It's something that flows through you by design. Think about how this hidden mechanism operates in your daily life. Your mind processes millions of bits of information every second, but your conscious awareness only captures a tiny fraction of these inputs. What determines which opportunities, ideas, and possibilities make it through this filtering system? Your existing beliefs about what's possible for you financially. If your subconscious programming says wealth is difficult or money requires struggle, your mind literally cannot register prosperity opportunities that contradict this programming. Now, I want to go even deeper into the neurological reality behind this wealth transformation process. When you begin reversing the manifestation sequence, something remarkable happens in your brain's neural architecture. Your reticular activating system, the part responsible for determining what Information reaches your conscious awareness, begins prioritizing different inputs. Opportunities that were always present but previously filtered out suddenly become visible. People, resources, and possibilities that perfectly align with your financial evolution mysteriously appear at precisely the right moment. This isn't mysterious magic. It's precise psychological science. By consciously reprogramming your internal relationship with abundance, you literally change what your brain considers. Relevant information. Your perceptual filters shift from seeking evidence of limitation to recognizing pathways to prosperity. Your decision-making improves because you're operating from a mindset of possibility rather than scarcity. Your creative problem-solving expands because you're no longer constrained by artificial boundaries around what's possible for you financially. The transformation journey begins when you realize that your thoughts aren't just passive observers of your financial reality. They're the active architects continually designing and building it. Every assumption you hold about money, every expectation about your financial future, every belief about your worthiness to receive abundance, these aren't just ideas. They're blueprint instructions that your subconscious mind faithfully executes, manifesting precisely the reality that matches your internal programming. Write in the comments, "My thoughts are my financial architects," if you're beginning to recognize how this reversed manifestation sequence might be the missing piece in your prosperity puzzle. The moment you truly grasp this concept, something profound shifts in your understanding of wealth creation. Every thought you think about money, every belief you hold about your worthiness to receive abundance, every assumption about what's financially possible for someone like you, these aren't just passive ideas floating through your mind. They're active creative forces that are either building or destroying your financial future in real time. This revelation explains why two people with similar backgrounds, education, and opportunities can experience dramatically different financial outcomes. The wealthy aren't operating with better strategies or more information. They're existing in a completely different reality where abundance flows naturally because their consciousness has been programmed to expect it, recognize it, and allow it. They've cracked the code that transforms mental energy into physical wealth. What's fascinating about this transformation process is how it operates on multiple levels simultaneously. At the conscious level, your thoughts create the blueprint for your financial reality. At the subconscious level, your beliefs determine which opportunities you can even perceive. And at the identity level, your fundamental assumptions about who you are in relation to money determine what kind of financial experiences feel authentic to you. Most people remain trapped in financial limitation because they're trying to change their external circumstances while maintaining the same internal programming that created those circumstances in the first place. It's like trying to grow roses while continuously planting weed seeds. Your actions contradict your foundation, so the results remain frustratingly consistent with your subconscious blueprint rather than your conscious desires. The wealthy understand something that escapes most people. Your mind operates according to precise laws that govern the manifestation process. When you align your thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and actions with prosperity consciousness, you create an internal environment where wealth can naturally flourish. This isn't mystical thinking, it's psychological architecture. Think about how this hidden mechanism functions in your daily life. When your mind habitually focuses on scarcity, what you don't have, and why financial success is difficult, you're literally programming your perceptual filters to notice evidence that confirms these expectations. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for determining what information reaches your awareness, faithfully delivers experiences that match your dominant thought patterns. But when you consciously reprogram these mental patterns, something remarkable begins to happen. Opportunities that were always present but previously filtered out of your awareness suddenly become visible. Resources you need mysteriously appear at precisely the right moment. People who can help you advance seem to cross your path at exactly the right time. This isn't coincidence or luck. It's the natural consequence of operating from a different level of consciousness. The journey toward financial mastery requires understanding that wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you embody. It's not about having more, but about becoming more, expanding your identity to naturally include prosperity as an expression of who you are rather than something external you're trying to acquire. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this mysterious process actually works and why it remains hidden from most people who desperately need to understand it. The moment you truly understand that your mind operates on a specific frequency, everything about wealth creation starts to make sense. Just as a radio must be tuned to receive clear signals, your consciousness must vibrate at the frequency of abundance to attract financial opportunities. This isn't metaphysical nonsense. It's observable reality that successful people have been using for centuries. When your mind consistently vibrates with thoughts of possibility, creativity, and expectation of success, something remarkable happens. The world around you begins to respond in ways that seem almost magical, but are actually the predictable results of aligning your internal state with universal principles of creation. The breakthrough occurs when you realize that your thoughts aren't random. They follow patterns established by your core beliefs. These belief patterns create your perception filters, which determine what opportunities you can recognize and what possibilities feel accessible to you. When you consciously upgrade these belief patterns, you literally change what your brain considers relevant information, expanding your awareness to include prosperity opportunities that were always there but previously invisible to your consciousness. Write in the comments, "I'm tuning to the frequency of wealth," if you're beginning to sense how this internal reprogramming process might transform your financial reality. When you truly understand that your mind operates on specific frequencies, the entire concept of wealth creation becomes crystal clear. Think of your consciousness as a sophisticated receiver, similar to a radio that must be precisely tuned to capture clear signals. In this analogy, financial abundance exists on a particular frequency that only becomes accessible when your mind is calibrated to receive it. This isn't some mystical concept. It's the observable mechanism behind why certain individuals consistently attract prosperity while others remain trapped in cycles of lack. The revelation that transforms everything is understanding how this frequency calibration actually works in your daily life. When your thoughts consistently resonate with possibility rather than limitation, with creativity rather than conformity, with expectation of success rather than anticipation of struggle, your entire field of perception shifts. Opportunities that were always present in your environment suddenly become visible. People who can help advance your financial journey appear at precisely the right moment. Resources that seemed inaccessible begin flowing toward you through unexpected channels. This frequency alignment explains one of the most fascinating aspects of wealth psychology. Why some people seem to effortlessly attract financial breakthroughs, while others work tirelessly without significant progress. It's not that the universe favors certain individuals. It's that these individuals have mastered the art of maintaining consistent vibrational alignment with prosperity consciousness. The journey toward this alignment begins with recognizing that your current thought patterns create a specific energetic signature that either attracts or repels financial abundance. Every worry about money, every doubt about your worthiness to receive prosperity, every assumption that wealth requires struggle, these create interference patterns that disrupt your reception of abundance opportunities. Behind the scenes of every financial transformation is this fundamental shift. moving from the scattered, chaotic thought patterns of lack consciousness to the coherent, focused frequency of prosperity thinking. When your mind operates with this level of clarity, it's like switching from a static-filled radio station to one with perfect reception. The information you receive becomes clearer, the opportunities you perceive become more abundant, and your decision-making naturally aligns with prosperity-generating choices. What makes this process so powerful is how it creates a self-reinforcing feedback loop in your experience. As you maintain consistency in your prosperity frequency, you begin noticing evidence of abundance in your environment. This evidence strengthens your belief in prosperity, which further clarifies your frequency, which attracts more evidence, creating acceleration toward financial breakthrough. This explains why true wealth creation isn't about frantically pursuing external strategies, but about maintaining internal frequency alignment regardless of temporary circumstances. The wealthy have discovered that prosperity flows naturally when they sustain this alignment, making wealth creation more about frequency management than strategic manipulation. Now, I want to go even deeper into what happens when your mind fully calibrates to this prosperity frequency. There's a fascinating phenomenon that occurs in your neurological wiring when you consistently maintain thoughts of abundance rather than scarcity. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for determining what information reaches your conscious awareness, begins filtering reality differently. Information that supports your prosperity consciousness gets prioritized, while data that contradicts it gets minimized or filtered out entirely. This isn't delusion, it's selective perception that all humans experience. The difference is that most people unconsciously program their perception filters for limitation, while prosperity thinkers deliberately calibrate theirs for abundance. The transformation journey requires understanding that your dominant thoughts aren't random. They follow patterns established by your core beliefs about prosperity. These belief patterns create your perception filters, which determine what opportunities you recognize and what possibilities feel accessible. When you consciously upgrade these belief patterns, you literally change what your mind considers relevant information, expanding your awareness to include wealth opportunities that were always there but previously invisible to your consciousness. Write in the comments, "I'm recalibrating my prosperity frequency," if you're beginning to understand how this vibrational alignment might be the missing key in your financial evolution. The revelation that most people completely miss in their pursuit of financial prosperity is this: when you master your internal world, when you gain complete control over your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, the external world has no choice but to surrender to your vision. This isn't wishful thinking or metaphysical fantasy. It's about becoming such a powerful force of focused intention that reality itself begins to bend and reshape to accommodate your prosperity consciousness. What's happening behind the scenes of this transformation is a profound shift in your relationship with cause and effect. Most people spend their lives believing they are at the mercy of external circumstances, economic conditions, market fluctuations, the decisions of others. But this perspective has the entire equation backward. Your external reality isn't the cause of your internal state. Your internal state is the cause of your external reality. This understanding revolutionizes everything about how you approach wealth creation. Instead of exhausting yourself trying to manipulate external conditions, you focus on maintaining the internal state that naturally magnetizes prosperity. Rather than scattering your energy across dozens of financial strategies, hoping something works, you consolidate your mental force into a single powerful stream of focused intention that cuts through limitation like a laser through paper. The journey toward this level of internal mastery begins with a stark realization. Most people live in what could be called a poverty mindset, a comprehensive belief system where "I can't" reigns supreme over every dream and aspiration. It's a consciousness where possibilities drown before they have a chance to take root and grow. This mindset creates an invisible prison far more restrictive than any physical limitation you might face. When your default mental programming runs on frequencies of limitation, doubt, and scarcity, you literally cannot see the abundance that surrounds you every single day. Your brain automatically filters out opportunities because they don't match your internal expectations. You unconsciously sabotage chances for advancement because deep down you don't believe you deserve them. Watch how this plays out in real life. Two people can encounter the exact same financial opportunity, the same business idea, investment chance, or potential partnership. One person's mind immediately starts generating reasons why it won't work, why they're not qualified, or why it's too risky. The other person's consciousness automatically begins calculating how to make it successful, what resources they need and who they can contact for help. The difference isn't in their circumstances, education, or starting capital. The difference lies in the fundamental vibration of their thoughts. One operates from a belief system where "it's possible" is the default setting, while the other has been programmed to expect limitation and disappointment. This programming runs so deep that most people don't even realize they're trapped in it. The transformation begins when you recognize that poverty isn't simply the absence of money. It's a complete mental state, a comprehensive way of perceiving reality through the lens of scarcity rather than abundance. When you operate from this consciousness, you can be surrounded by incredible opportunities and still remain blind to them because your perception filters have been programmed to screen them out. Now, I want to go even deeper into why this internal mastery creates such dramatic external results. There's a fascinating phenomenon in neuroscience called selective attention that explains exactly how your dominant thoughts reshape your perception of reality. Your brain processes approximately 11 million bits of information per second, but your conscious mind can only handle about 50 bits per second. This means your subconscious mind must decide what tiny fraction of information reaches your awareness. What determines which 50 bits out of 11 million make it through? Your beliefs, expectations, and dominant thought patterns. When your mind consistently focuses on limitation and scarcity, your subconscious faithfully filters reality to match these expectations. But when you deliberately reprogram your internal state to align with prosperity consciousness, this same filtering mechanism begins delivering experiences that match your new expectations, not because external reality has changed, but because your perception of it has been transformed. Write in the comments, "My internal mastery creates my external reality," if you're beginning to grasp how this fundamental shift in perspective might transform your entire relationship with wealth creation. The revelation that completely transforms your understanding of financial struggle is this: poverty isn't simply the absence of money in your bank account. That's merely the surface symptom of a much deeper condition. At its core, poverty is actually a complete mental state, a comprehensive belief system where "I can't" reigns supreme over every dream and aspiration you might hold. It's a consciousness where possibilities drown before they ever have a chance to take root and grow. This poverty mindset creates an invisible prison far more restrictive than any physical limitation you might face in your external world. The bars of this prison aren't made of steel, they're constructed from beliefs like "people like me don't get rich," "money is scarce and hard to come by," or "financial freedom is only for those born into privilege." These thought patterns become the boundaries of what you believe is possible for your life. What makes this mental prison so insidious is how completely it shapes your perception of reality. When your default programming runs on frequencies of limitation, doubt and scarcity, you literally cannot see the abundance that surrounds you every single day. Your brain automatically filters out opportunities because they don't match your internal expectations. You unconsciously sabotage chances for advancement because deep down you don't believe you deserve them. The transformation journey begins when you recognize this profound truth. Your financial circumstances aren't creating your thoughts. Your thoughts are creating your financial circumstances. Every belief you hold about money, success, and your worthiness to receive prosperity is either expanding or contracting what's possible for you. These aren't just ideas floating through your mind. They're powerful creative forces actively shaping your reality. Think about how this hidden mechanism operates in your daily life. When you encounter a potential opportunity, your subconscious mind instantly runs it through your existing beliefs about prosperity. If those beliefs include limitations, like things never work out for me or making money always requires struggle, your mind will either prevent you from seeing the opportunity entirely or sabotage your ability to capitalize on it. Not because you lack capability, but because succeeding would contradict your existing programming. This explains why two people with similar backgrounds, education, and resources can have dramatically different financial outcomes. One person's mind is programmed to notice opportunities, believe in their ability to succeed, and take inspired action. The other person's mind is conditioned to see obstacles, doubt their capabilities, and hesitate when action is required. Same external reality, completely different internal filters interpreting that reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this mental programming establishes itself in the first place. Behind the scenes of your financial reality is a fascinating psychological mechanism called confirmation bias. Your mind's natural tendency to search for, interpret, and prioritize information that confirms your existing beliefs while ignoring or devaluing information that contradicts them. If you believe money is hard to come by, your mind faithfully gathers evidence supporting this belief. Every financial setback, every bill that arrives, every opportunity that doesn't pan out becomes proof that you were right all along. Meanwhile, your consciousness filters out evidence of abundance flowing into other people's lives, or dismisses their success as luck, privilege, or something unavailable to you. The breakthrough moment in your financial evolution occurs when you realize this entire filtering system operates below your conscious awareness. You aren't deliberately looking for evidence of limitation. Your subconscious mind has simply been programmed to prioritize this information because it matches your existing beliefs. The good news: this same mechanism that has kept you trapped in financial limitation can be redirected to support your prosperity. Once you understand how to reprogram it, the journey toward wealth consciousness requires a fundamental identity shift. Most people identify with their current financial circumstances, believing this is just how things are for me. But those who experience breakthroughs understand that your circumstances don't define your identity. Your identity creates your circumstances. Wealth isn't something that happens to you by chance. It's something that flows through you by design when you align your internal programming with prosperity consciousness. Write in the comments, "I'm breaking free from my mental poverty prison," if you're beginning to recognize how these invisible thought patterns might have been limiting your financial reality. The fascinating psychology behind wealth creation reveals itself most clearly when you observe how different people respond to identical opportunities. Watch this play out in real time. Two individuals encounter the exact same potential for financial advancement, perhaps a business opportunity, investment prospect, or career opening. Despite facing the same external circumstances, their internal reactions couldn't be more different. One person's mind immediately activates what psychologists call the threat response, generating a cascade of reasons why this opportunity won't work for them specifically. Their thoughts race to identify potential failures, focus on past disappointments, and calculate all the ways things might go wrong. This isn't conscious negativity, it's their subconscious mind's automated protection system working to keep them safely within their familiar financial identity. Meanwhile, the other person encounters the identical opportunity and experiences what we might call the possibility response. Their mind automatically begins calculating pathways to success, identifying resources they could leverage, people who might help, and strategies to overcome potential obstacles. They're not ignoring challenges. They simply process them as puzzles to solve rather than reasons to retreat. What explains this dramatic difference in response? It's certainly not education, background, or starting capital. We've all seen highly educated, well-connected people remain financially stuck, while others with far fewer external advantages create extraordinary prosperity. The difference lies in the fundamental vibration of their thoughts, the core frequencies at which their consciousness operates when processing financial information. The revelation that transforms everything is understanding how your brain's filtering system actually works. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for determining what information reaches your conscious awareness, processes millions of inputs every second, but it can only allow a tiny fraction of this information to reach your awareness. So it must decide what's important enough to notice and what to filter out, what determines which opportunities make it through this filtering system. Your existing beliefs about what's possible for you financially. If your subconscious programming says wealth is for other people or financial success requires struggle, your mind literally cannot register prosperity opportunities that contradict this programming. They're physically present in your environment, but invisible to your perception. This explains one of the most perplexing aspects of financial psychology, why some people seem perpetually lucky, while others encounter constant setbacks despite working harder. Luck has nothing to do with it. The lucky individuals have simply programmed their perception filters to notice and act on opportunities that the unlucky person's mind automatically screens out. Even more fascinating is the mechanism behind unconscious self-sabotage. Have you ever had an opportunity that seemed promising, but somehow you failed to follow through, missed deadlines, or made uncharacteristic mistakes that derailed your success? This isn't random bad luck. It's your subconscious mind protecting your existing identity. When opportunities arise that would contradict your deep programming about what's possible for you financially, your mind creates ingenious ways to ensure your reality remains consistent with your internal blueprint. The breakthrough journey begins when you recognize that this entire filtering system operates below your conscious awareness. You aren't deliberately looking for evidence of limitation. Your subconscious mind has simply been programmed to prioritize information that matches your existing beliefs about prosperity. The good news? This same mechanism that has kept you trapped can be redirected to support your financial evolution once you understand how to reprogram it. Now, I want to go even deeper into the transformation process that shifts your mind from limitation consciousness to prosperity. You're thinking. There's a fascinating neurological phenomenon called neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. This means your current financial thought patterns aren't permanent. They're simply the pathways that have been strengthened through repetition. The journey toward prosperity consciousness involves deliberately creating new neural pathways associated with abundance rather than scarcity. Each time you catch your mind generating limitation thoughts and consciously redirect to possibility thinking. You're literally rewiring your brain's financial processing center. Each time you notice evidence of abundance in your environment, rather than focusing on lack, you strengthen these new prosperity circuits. Write in the comments, "I'm rewiring my prosperity pathways," if you're beginning to recognize how these neural connections might have been shaping your financial reality. This invisible programming runs so deep within your psychology that most people never realize they're trapped in it. It's like living your entire life with a pair of tinted glasses. After a while, you forget you're wearing them. The tint becomes your normal way of seeing the world. Similarly, your mind's default settings about wealth become so familiar that you don't even question whether they represent objective reality or merely your programmed perception of reality. What makes this even more fascinating is the disconnect between what people consciously desire and what their subconscious mind actually expects. Most individuals genuinely believe they want wealth. They set financial goals, read books about success, take courses on investment strategies, and consciously pursue better opportunities. On the surface, everything seems aligned with their desire for prosperity, but beneath this conscious wanting lies a completely different operating system. Their subconscious mind continues expecting struggle, anticipating disappointment, and vibrating at the frequency of lack. This creates a perpetual tug-of-war between their conscious intentions and their deeper programming, like trying to drive with one foot on the gas and one on the brake simultaneously. They exhaust themselves with effort while making minimal progress. The revelation that changes everything is understanding why occasional positive thinking or sporadic visualization practices produce such limited results. These surface-level interventions are like trying to change the operating system of your computer by simply rearranging the desktop icons. They might temporarily make you feel better, but they don't address the core programming that's actually running your financial reality. Breaking free from limitation consciousness requires a complete transformation of your internal operating system, a fundamental rewiring of how your mind processes information about prosperity, opportunity, and your worthiness to receive abundance. This transformation operates at multiple levels simultaneously: conscious, subconscious, and identity, creating alignment that ends the internal tug-of-war and allows your entire being to move coherently toward prosperity. Think about what happens during this transformation journey. At the conscious level, you become increasingly aware of your habitual thought patterns about money and begin deliberately choosing prosperity-focused thoughts. At the subconscious level, repetitive mental and emotional programming gradually shifts your default expectations from struggle to natural abundance. And at the identity level, perhaps most crucially, you evolve from someone who wants to be wealthy to someone who fundamentally sees themselves as a natural creator and receiver of prosperity. What makes this journey so challenging, yet ultimately so liberating, is that it requires confronting deeply embedded beliefs you may not even realize you hold. Many of these limitation programs were installed during childhood, perhaps through overhearing parents argue about money, observing financial struggle in your family, or absorbing subtle messages from your culture about who deserves wealth and who doesn't. These early imprints formed the foundation of your financial operating system long before you had the conscious awareness to evaluate them. Now, I want to go even deeper into the monumental difference between merely wanting wealth and making the definitive decision to create it. There exists a profound distinction that most people never grasp, a distinction that separates those who spend years hoping their financial situation will improve from those who transform their reality with seemingly effortless precision. When you merely want something, you place it in the category of nice to have or maybe someday, like a dream vacation or winning the lottery. Wanting keeps wealth in the realm of fantasy rather than bringing it into your lived experience. It positions prosperity as something outside yourself that you're trying to acquire, rather than an expression of who you're becoming. The breakthrough occurs when you cross the threshold from wanting to deciding, making the absolute, irrevocable commitment that your financial transformation isn't a question of if, but simply a matter of when and how. This decision isn't made with your logical mind alone. It reverberates through your entire being. Every cell, every thought, every emotion becomes aligned with this new direction. It's a declaration so powerful that it begins reorganizing your perception, your opportunities, and your actions without conscious effort. Write in the comments, "I've made the decision," not just the wish, if you're ready to cross the threshold from merely wanting wealth to making the irrevocable commitment to create it. The monumental difference between wanting to be rich and deciding to be rich represents one of the most critical thresholds on your wealth journey. This distinction might seem subtle on the surface, yet it creates entirely different trajectories for your financial future. When you merely want wealth, you place it in the nebulous category of nice to have someday, or wouldn't it be wonderful if. Wanting keeps prosperity forever outside your grasp, something that happens to other people but remains perpetually just beyond your reach. This wanting state creates a peculiar psychological dynamic where wealth remains in the realm of fantasy, rather than becoming part of your lived experience. You might think about it often, dream about what you'd do if you had it, even take occasional actions toward creating it. But there's always an invisible barrier separating you from truly embodying prosperity consciousness. This barrier exists because wanting positions wealth as something external that you're trying to acquire rather than an expression of who you're becoming. The revelation that transforms everything is what happens when you cross the threshold from wanting to deciding, making the absolute, irrevocable commitment that your financial abundance isn't a question of if, but simply a matter of when and how. When you truly decide to be wealthy, something fundamentally shifts at the core of your being. This decision means acting as if there were no other possible destiny, as if your prosperity is as inevitable as the sun rising tomorrow. What makes this decision so powerful is that it isn't made with your logical mind alone. It reverberates through your entire consciousness. Every cell, every thought, every emotion becomes aligned with this new direction. It's a declaration so profound that it begins reorganizing your perception, your opportunities, and your actions without conscious effort. The universe itself seems to rearrange around your decision because your entire vibrational signature has shifted. Think about the etymology of the word decision. It comes from Latin decidere, meaning to cut off. A true decision cuts off all other possibilities. When you decide to be wealthy, you literally cut off the possibility of remaining in financial limitation. This isn't wishful thinking or positive affirmation. It's an identity-level transformation that changes how you interact with every aspect of your financial reality. Behind the scenes of this transformation is a fascinating shift in how your mind processes financial information. Before the decision, your subconscious continuously looks for evidence supporting your limitations. After the decision, this same psychological mechanism begins gathering evidence supporting your inevitable prosperity. You haven't changed the mechanism itself. You've simply redirected its focus by changing the fundamental question it's trying to answer. This explains why people who make this decision often experience what seems like lucky coincidences shortly afterward. They suddenly encounter perfect opportunities, meet exactly the right people, or discover resources they didn't know were available. These aren't random coincidences. They're the natural consequence of their perception filters being reprogrammed to notice prosperity possibilities that were always present, but previously filtered out of their awareness. Now, I want to go even deeper into why this decision must come before you see external evidence of your wealth, rather than waiting for circumstances to change first. Most people operate from the belief that they'll make this decision once they start seeing some proof that wealth is possible for them. But this approach fundamentally misunderstands the creative sequence of manifestation. Your internal declaration must come first, followed by absolute faith in that decision. Only then does the evidence begin to appear in your physical reality. This requires a level of courage most people aren't willing to embrace because it means committing to something before you can see how it's going to unfold. But this seemingly illogical sequence is precisely what makes the decision so powerful. It demonstrates your willingness to trust the process even when external circumstances haven't yet caught up with your internal shift. The transformation accelerates when you realize that your thoughts aren't just fleeting mental activities that disappear into nothingness. Thoughts are actual things with real creative power, and when you combine them with definite purpose, unshakable faith, and relentless persistence, they transform from invisible ideas into tangible realities that reshape your entire financial landscape. Write in the comments, "I've crossed the decision threshold," if you recognize this fundamental difference between wishing for wealth and making the irrevocable decision that prosperity is your only possible destination. The profound truth behind this creation sequence reveals why so many people remain trapped in financial limitation despite their best intentions. Your internal declaration about wealth isn't just a casual preference or fleeting thought. It's a vibrational command that reverberates through every dimension of your being. This declaration penetrates every cell, influences every thought, and colors every emotion with its essence. It literally reprograms the energetic signature you're broadcasting to the universe. What most people fail to understand about this process is the critical sequencing. You must declare prosperity internally before experiencing it externally, because this declaration is what sets the entire creation process in motion. Without this initial command from your consciousness, the external circumstances have no blueprint to follow. It's like trying to build a house without architectural plans. Random construction might occur, but it won't manifest as the specific financial reality you desire. The revelation that transforms everything is recognizing that most people approach this sequence entirely backward. They believe they need to see some evidence of wealth first, then they'll make the decision to pursue it fully, and only after that will they develop faith in the process. But this reversed approach guarantees continued struggle, because it defies the fundamental laws governing manifestation. The actual sequence operates with mathematical precision. First comes the internal decision, the absolute commitment that your prosperity is inevitable. This decision isn't casual or conditional. It's a fundamental shift in your identity that changes how you perceive yourself in relation to abundance. Next comes unwavering faith in that decision. Not hope, not wishing, but absolute knowing that what you've declared is already in process. Only after these internal shifts have occurred does the external evidence begin appearing in your physical reality. This sequencing requires a level of courage most people aren't willing to embrace. It means making a definitive commitment before you can see how everything will unfold. It means trusting the invisible process of creation even when temporary circumstances might contradict your new declaration. It means developing what might be called spiritual audacity, the willingness to claim your prosperity before external evidence supports your claim. The transformation journey accelerates when you grasp that your thoughts aren't just random mental activity. They're actual creative forces with the power to reshape reality when properly directed. Think of your thoughts as orders that your mind continuously sends out to the universe. Every single thought you think is essentially a command, an instruction about what you want to experience in your financial life. Most people send contradictory signals all day long. One moment thinking about wealth, the next dwelling on lack, then switching to doubt, then back to hope. These conflicting commands create chaos in their results because the universe doesn't know which order to fulfill. But when you make the definitive decision to be wealthy and align all your thoughts with that decision, your mental commands become crystal clear, consistent, and powerful. Now, I want to go even deeper into why this clarity of command creates such extraordinary results. There's a fascinating phenomenon in quantum physics called observer effect that offers a perfect metaphor for understanding this creative process. Scientists have discovered that subatomic particles exist as waves of potential until they're observed, at which point they collapse into specific particles based on the expectation of the observer. Your financial reality operates in a remarkably similar way. The field of infinite possibilities surrounds you constantly, but what manifests in your experience depends entirely on what your consciousness is programmed to observe and expect. When your mind consistently broadcasts the frequency of wealth with unwavering clarity, the particles of possibility begin organizing themselves to match that expectation. This explains why people who master this internal clarity seem to have an almost supernatural ability to attract resources, recognize opportunities, and create financial breakthroughs that others miss entirely. They're not luckier or more deserving. They've simply developed the kind of mental coherence that allows the universe to respond with precision rather than confusion. The journey toward this level of clarity begins with recognizing that every thought is either reinforcing your prosperity declaration or contradicting it. There is no neutral thinking when it comes to wealth creation. Even seemingly innocent observations like, "I can't afford that," or "money is tight right now," are actually powerful commands, instructing your subconscious to create more of those exact experiences. Write in the comments, "I declare my wealth internally now," if you're beginning to grasp how this internal declaration might be the crucial first step in transforming your financial reality. The revelation that completely transforms your understanding of wealth creation is this: your thoughts aren't just fleeting mental activities that disappear into nothingness. They're actual things with real creative power, tangible, energetic forces that shape the fabric of your reality. This isn't metaphysical speculation. It's the operating mechanism behind every financial breakthrough ever experienced. When your thoughts combine with definite purpose, unshakable faith, and relentless persistence, they transform from invisible ideas into tangible realities that manifest in your physical experience. Think of your thoughts as orders that your mind continuously broadcasts to the universe. Every single thought you think is essentially a command, an instruction about what you want to experience in your financial life. This broadcasting happens 24/7, whether you're conscious of it or not. Your mind never stops sending these signals, and the universe never stops responding to them with mathematical precision. What most people don't realize is that they're sending contradictory orders all day long. One moment thinking about wealth and possibility, the next moment dwelling on lack and limitation, then switching to doubt about their capabilities, then back to hope that things might improve someday. These conflicting signals create chaos in their results because the universe doesn't know which order to fulfill. It's like simultaneously pressing the gas pedal and the brake in your car, lots of energy expended with minimal forward movement. The transformation begins when you understand that financial clarity creates financial reality. When you make the definitive decision to be wealthy and align all your thoughts with that decision, something remarkable happens. Your mental commands become crystal clear, consistent, and powerful. Instead of sending mixed signals, you're broadcasting a single focused frequency that says, I am wealth. I create abundance. Prosperity flows to me naturally. This explains why successful people seem to have an almost supernatural ability to create opportunities and attract resources. They're not luckier than everyone else. They're simply operating with mental clarity and consistency that most people never achieve. Their thoughts work for them because they've learned to think with intention rather than randomly. Behind the scenes of this transformation is a fascinating shift in how your brain processes information. When your thoughts remain scattered and contradictory, your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for filtering millions of sensory inputs, doesn't know what to prioritize. But when you establish crystal clear prosperity thinking, this filtering mechanism begins delivering exactly the opportunities, ideas, and connections that support your wealth consciousness. The journey toward this level of mental clarity isn't about forcing yourself to never have a negative thought. That's neither realistic nor necessary. It's about developing what psychologists call cognitive dominance, ensuring that your prosperity thoughts significantly outnumber and overpower any limiting thoughts that might arise. When your mind consistently vibrates at the frequency of abundance, occasional doubts become mere ripples in an ocean of possibility thinking. Now, I want to go even deeper into what happens when this clear, consistent prosperity thinking becomes your default mental state. There's a fascinating phenomenon that occurs in your neurological wiring that explains why wealth seems to flow naturally to some people while remaining elusive to others despite similar external circumstances. When you consistently focus your thoughts on prosperity rather than limitation, you activate what neuroscientists call selective attention. Your brain begins noticing opportunities that were always present but previously filtered out of your awareness. Resources that seemed unavailable suddenly become accessible. Solutions to financial challenges emerge spontaneously as if they were waiting for your consciousness to evolve enough to receive them. This selective attention creates what appears to be a series of lucky coincidences in your financial life. You happen to meet exactly the right person at exactly the right time. You discover information that perfectly addresses your current needs. You receive unexpected income from sources you hadn't considered. These aren't random coincidences. They're the natural consequence of your mind being programmed to recognize and act on prosperity opportunities that your previous thinking patterns would have missed entirely. Write in the comments, "My thoughts create my financial reality," if you're beginning to recognize how these mental commands might be shaping your wealth experience in ways you never realized before. The transformation from financial struggle to abundance becomes visible when you observe the mental patterns of those who consistently create wealth. They've developed what might be called broadcast clarity, the ability to maintain a single, powerful frequency in their thought patterns rather than oscillating between contradictory signals. This clarity doesn't happen by accident. It emerges when you make the definitive decision to be wealthy and then deliberately align every thought with that fundamental choice. What happens behind the scenes of this mental alignment is fascinating. Instead of sending mixed messages that create confusion and delay in your manifestation process, you begin broadcasting a single focused frequency to the universe. I am wealth. I create abundance. Prosperity flows to me naturally. This isn't positive thinking or affirmation. It's vibrational coherence that fundamentally alters how your consciousness interfaces with the field of infinite possibility. This explains one of the most perplexing mysteries in wealth psychology. Why Some individuals seem to have an almost supernatural ability to recognize opportunities, attract resources, and create financial breakthroughs that others completely miss. They're not experiencing random good fortune, as most people assume. They're operating with a level of mental clarity and consistency that transforms their entire relationship with prosperity. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your thoughts aren't just passive observations about your financial reality. They're active architects continuously designing and building that reality. When your thinking patterns remain scattered and contradictory, your creative power dissipates in multiple directions, creating minimal impact in any single area. But when you develop intentional thinking, deliberately choosing thoughts that align with your prosperity consciousness, this same creative force consolidates into a powerful stream that cuts through limitation like a laser through paper. What distinguishes the financially successful isn't superior intelligence, better education, or more favorable circumstances. The critical difference is that they've learned to think with intention rather than randomly. They understand, either consciously or intuitively, that financial clarity creates financial reality. They recognize that their mind is constantly broadcasting instructions about what they want to experience, and they've mastered the art of making those instructions consistent with their prosperity goals. The journey toward this level of mental coherence begins with developing what psychologists call cognitive awareness, becoming conscious of the thought patterns that have been running on autopilot in your financial thinking. Most people are completely unaware of how frequently they transmit limitation signals through casual observations like, "I can't afford that," "money is tight," or "that's too expensive." These seemingly innocent statements are actually powerful, programming instructions that your subconscious mind faithfully executes. Now, I want to go even deeper into the neurological reality behind this transformation process. There's a fascinating structure in your brain called the reticular activating system that serves as your perception filter, determining what information reaches your conscious awareness out of the millions of sensory inputs you encounter every moment. This filtering system is programmed by your dominant thought patterns, beliefs, and expectations about what's possible for you financially. When your thoughts consistently align with prosperity consciousness, this reticular filter begins noticing opportunities it previously screened out. Resources that were always present suddenly become visible. Connections that could advance your financial growth mysteriously appear at exactly the right moment. Ideas for creating or expanding wealth emerge spontaneously as if they were waiting for your consciousness to evolve enough to receive them. This selective perception creates what appears to be a series of lucky coincidences in your financial life, but there's nothing coincidental about it. It's the natural consequence of reprogramming your mental filters to recognize prosperity opportunities rather than scanning for evidence of limitation. Your external reality hasn't changed. Your perception of what's possible within that reality has expanded dramatically. The revelation that transforms your entire financial journey is recognizing that every wealthy individual you've ever admired has mastered this precise skill, the ability to maintain mental clarity and consistency in their prosperity thinking. They aren't experiencing random good fortune. They've simply developed coherent thought patterns that naturally attract abundance rather than repelling it. Write in the comments, "I'm developing broadcast clarity," if you're beginning to recognize how this consistent mental frequency might transform your relationship with financial abundance. The revelation that transforms your entire understanding of financial abundance is this: every thought you've ever had about money, success, and your own capabilities has been actively shaping your financial reality all along. This isn't just happening occasionally or when you're consciously focusing on prosperity. It's a continuous process that operates 24/7, whether you're aware of it or not. Your current financial situation, down to the exact dollar in your bank account, is the perfect physical manifestation of your previous thought patterns about wealth. This knowledge doesn't reach everyone at the same time. It finds you precisely when your consciousness has evolved enough to truly grasp its implications. Some people encounter this wisdom repeatedly throughout their lives, but dismiss it as motivational fluff or wishful thinking. Only when you've reached a certain threshold of awareness does this revelation transform from interesting theory to recognized truth that you can actually apply to reshape your financial destiny. What distinguishes those who create extraordinary prosperity from those who merely wish for better circumstances is a profound difference that most people completely overlook. There exists a critical distinction between casual interest in wealth and the kind of burning desire that actually creates financial breakthroughs. This distinction explains why some people transform their financial reality while others remain perpetually stuck despite understanding the same principles intellectually. Most people believe they want to be rich, but what they actually have is merely a mild preference, a gentle wish that would be nice if it happened, but isn't strong enough to survive the first real challenge or obstacle. This casual interest creates an approach to wealth creation that's fundamentally half-hearted. They take action when it's convenient, persist until it becomes difficult, and abandon their financial goals at the first sign of resistance. The transformation journey begins when you recognize that true wealth creation requires something far more powerful than mild interest. It demands a burning desire so intense, so consuming, that it becomes the dominant thought in your consciousness. This isn't just wanting more money. This is a fire in your soul that transcends everything else in your life, a passion for prosperity that doesn't fade when difficulties arise, but actually grows stronger with each obstacle you encounter. This burning desire becomes your internal compass, guiding every decision, every action, every thought toward your financial destination. When you possess this level of desire, setbacks become temporary inconveniences rather than reasons to quit. Rejection becomes redirection rather than defeat. Failure becomes education rather than evidence you should stop trying. The intensity of your desire transforms every experience into fuel for your journey, rather than evidence that you should abandon it. What makes this burning desire so infinitely more powerful than casual interest is how it interfaces with your subconscious programming. Mild interest operates only at the conscious level, creating sporadic motivation that fades when challenges arise. But burning desire penetrates your entire being, reprogramming your subconscious mind to continuously seek solutions, recognize opportunities, and maintain persistence regardless of temporary circumstances. Now, I want to go even deeper into the psychological architecture behind this transformation process. There's a fascinating phenomenon in human motivation that explains why burning desire creates such extraordinary results, while casual interest produces minimal change. Psychologists call it cognitive consistency, your mind's natural tendency to align your actions, decisions, and perceptions with your most deeply held beliefs and desires. When your desire for financial abundance becomes the dominant thought in your consciousness, your entire mental operating system reorganizes to create consistency with this desire. Your perception filters automatically begin noticing resources and opportunities that support your financial breakthrough. Your decision-making naturally prioritizes actions that move you toward prosperity. Your problem-solving abilities focus intently on overcoming any obstacles between you and your financial objectives. This explains why people with burning desire seem to possess almost supernatural determination and resilience. They're not inherently stronger or more disciplined than everyone else. They've simply installed prosperity as such a core component of their identity that giving up would create unbearable cognitive dissonance. Their minds literally cannot accept failure as a permanent condition because it would contradict this fundamental aspect of who they've become. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that this burning desire isn't something you either have or don't have by nature. It's something you deliberately cultivate through focused attention and emotional intensity. You can transform mild interest into consuming passion by continuously directing your mental and emotional energy toward your prosperity vision until it becomes the dominant frequency in your consciousness. The journey toward this level of desire begins with clarity, defining exactly what financial abundance means for you. Specifically, not vague intentions like "I want to be rich," but precisely what prosperity would look like, feel like, and mean in your unique life. This clarity gives your desire something concrete to attach to, transforming abstract wanting into specific intention that your subconscious mind can actually work with. Write in the comments, "My desire burns brighter than my obstacles," if you're beginning to feel this shift from casual interest to the kind of consuming passion that inevitably creates financial breakthrough. The intensity of this desire creates a fundamental shift in how you experience the entire wealth creation journey. When prosperity becomes the dominant thought in your consciousness, not just when you're actively focusing on it, but continuously in the background of your awareness, something remarkable happens to your perception of challenges. What others see as insurmountable obstacles, you recognize as temporary barriers that exist solely to test your commitment and strengthen your resolve. This transformation in perspective changes your entire relationship with setbacks. Instead of viewing rejection as evidence you should stop trying, you interpret it as simply pointing you toward a better direction. Rather than seeing failure as proof you're not capable, you recognize it as education that's preparing you for inevitable success. The intensity of your desire literally transforms every experience, even the painful ones, into fuel that propels you forward rather than evidence you should quit. Think about how this plays out in the journey of every successful wealth creator. They don't experience fewer obstacles than everyone else. They often encounter more challenges precisely because they're attempting what others won't try. The difference lies in how they interpret these challenges. Where the casually interested see reasons to quit, those with burning desire see opportunities to grow, adapt, and strengthen their approach. What makes this level of desire so transformative is how it reprograms your entire nervous system to respond differently to adversity. When your commitment to prosperity becomes the dominant force in your being, challenges actually trigger a heightened state of creativity, determination, and resourcefulness rather than discouragement. Your brain literally releases different neurochemicals in response to obstacles, activating solution-oriented thinking instead of defeat-oriented emotions. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that this isn't just about wanting wealth, it's about becoming someone for whom prosperity is the only acceptable outcome. This identity-level transformation means you no longer see financial abundance as something you're pursuing. You see it as an inevitable expression of who you already are. From this perspective, obstacles aren't stopping you from becoming wealthy. They're simply delaying the external manifestation of your internal reality. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this profound shift in identity. Most people approach wealth creation as something external they're trying to acquire, like hunting for treasure they hope exists. But those who create extraordinary abundance understand that prosperity isn't something you find. It's something you embody so completely that the external world has no choice but to reorganize around your new vibrational signature. Now, I want to go even deeper into the first critical mistake that keeps most people trapped in financial mediocrity: There's a hidden reason why desire alone, even when it burns intensely, sometimes fails to create the prosperity breakthrough you're seeking. This revelation explains why some people can want wealth desperately, yet remain financially stuck despite their best efforts. The missing element that transforms burning desire into actual manifestation is definite purpose, a crystal clear, precisely defined objective that gives your desire direction and transforms it from wishful thinking into an unstoppable force. Without this definite purpose, desire has nowhere to focus its energy. It's like having a powerful engine, but no steering wheel to direct its force. Most people approach wealth with vague intentions like, I want to be rich, or I'd like to have more money, or I hope things get better financially. These aren't purposes. They're just general directions that lead nowhere specific. Your subconscious mind requires precision to operate effectively. It needs exact targets to aim for, specific outcomes to create, and clear objectives to manifest. The difference becomes clear when you examine how truly successful individuals approach prosperity. They don't just desire wealth in general. They have laser-focused objectives with specific amounts, definite timelines, and clear pathways. Their minds aren't scattered across dozens of vague financial wishes. They're concentrated on precisely defined outcomes that direct their mental and physical energy with mathematical precision. This explains why so many people achieve nothing despite having good intentions, despite working hard, despite wanting success desperately. The critical missing element isn't stronger desire. It's having a clear target that transforms that desire from scattered wanting into focused creative force. Without definite purpose, even the strongest desire dissipates like steam without direction. Write in the comments, purpose directs my desire, if you're beginning to see how this combination of burning desire and definite purpose might transform your wealth creation journey. The first critical mistake that keeps countless people trapped in financial mediocrity is profoundly simple, yet devastatingly effective. They fail to understand that desire without definite purpose is nothing more than a vain dream, a pleasant fantasy that feels good to think about but possesses no power to create real transformation. This revelation explains why thousands of people desire a better financial life, yet only a select few actually achieve it. The difference isn't intelligence, education, connections, or even luck. The difference lies in purpose. Having a crystal clear, precisely defined objective that gives your desire direction and transforms it from wishful thinking into unstoppable force. Most people approach wealth creation with vague intentions floating in their consciousness, nebulous wishes like, I want to be rich, or I'd like to have more money, or I hope things get better financially. These aren't purposes, they're just general directions that lead nowhere specific. Without a definite purpose, your desire has nowhere to focus its energy. It's like having a powerful engine but no steering wheel, tremendous potential power that dissipates without direction, creating heat but no forward movement. Think about how this plays out in your daily experience. When your financial objectives remain vague, your mind doesn't know exactly what to focus on. Your subconscious, which operates like a heat-seeking missile targeting whatever you program it to find, receives conflicting instructions about what to pursue. Should it seek opportunities for immediate cash flow, long-term investments, new business ventures, passive income streams? Without specific direction, your mental energy scatters across dozens of possibilities without fully engaging with any of them. This lack of definite purpose creates a fascinating neurological phenomenon that explains why so many people feel busy but make minimal financial progress. Your reticular activating system, the part of your brain responsible for filtering millions of sensory inputs, doesn't know which opportunities to highlight for your conscious attention. Without clear criteria for what constitutes a valuable financial opportunity specifically for you, Your mind literally cannot recognize the perfect possibilities that might be right in front of you. The transformation journey begins when you replace vague financial wishes with definite purpose, when you establish crystal clear targets that your subconscious mind can lock onto with laser precision. This isn't about setting generic goals like make more money. It's about defining exactly how much money you intend to earn, by what specific date, through what particular means, creating what specific impact, and experiencing what emotional state as a result. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that your mind operates from a completely different energy source when given definite purpose rather than general direction. When you establish specific financial objectives, your subconscious mind activates its problem-solving mechanisms and starts working behind the scenes to identify opportunities, resources, and connections that support your definite purpose. What previously required conscious effort becomes almost effortless because your entire mental architecture reorganizes around achieving your precise objective. This explains why successful individuals seem to have an uncanny ability to be in the right place at the right time. They're not experiencing random good fortune. They're operating with such clarity of purpose that their minds naturally gravitate towards situations that support their objectives. Their burning desire combined with definite purpose creates a magnetic field that attracts the people, circumstances, and opportunities they need for financial breakthrough. Now, I want to go even deeper into how this definite purpose transforms your relationship with opportunity. There's a fascinating shift that occurs in your perception when your mind has crystal clear targets to pursue. Instead of seeing financial possibilities as overwhelming or confusing, you develop what psychologists call opportunity recognition, the ability to instantly identify which options align with your specific purpose and which would distract from it. This clarity creates extraordinary efficiency in your wealth creation journey. Instead of chasing dozens of potential pathways with minimal progress on any, you focus your mental, emotional, and physical resources on opportunities that directly support your definite purpose. This concentrated effort creates momentum that builds upon itself, transforming what looks like overnight success to outside observers, but is actually the natural consequence of purpose-driven focus over time. The hidden truth behind this transformation is that definite purpose doesn't just change what you do, it fundamentally shifts who you become in the process of pursuing it. When your mind locks onto specific financial objectives, you naturally evolve into the kind of person who can achieve those objectives. Your thinking patterns, emotional responses, decision-making and actions all align with your purpose, creating an integrated force that makes success feel inevitable rather than uncertain. This purpose-driven evolution explains why some people seem to navigate financial challenges with remarkable resilience, while others become derailed by the slightest obstacle. When you're pursuing a vague wish, any setback can seem like evidence you should quit. But when you're driven by definite purpose, obstacles simply become problems to solve on the path to your inevitable destination. Write in the comments, "My purpose gives direction to my desire," if you're beginning to recognize how this crystal clear direction might transform your financial journey from scattered wishing to focused creation. If you've made it this far, if something inside you resonated deeply with what we've been exploring together, then you understand this wasn't a random encounter with just another video. The fact that this message found you, that you stayed with it through this journey of discovery, tells me everything I need to know about your level of commitment to your financial transformation. The conversation we've been having isn't just about money or wealth strategies. It's about awakening to your true potential as a conscious creator of your reality. Every principle we've discussed is part of a complete system that has transformed countless lives throughout history, and it found you at exactly this moment in your journey because your consciousness is finally ready to receive it. If this content sparked something in you, if it felt like a missing piece clicking into place, a like would mean the world to me. It helps this message reach other people who need to hear it just as much as you did, and I'd be honored to have you join our community by subscribing. This isn't about numbers, but about connecting with people who are serious about taking control of their financial destiny. The journey doesn't end here, though. There's so much more to explore about how these principles work in practical application. If what we discussed today resonated with you, leave a comment saying, "This message was meant for me," because honestly it was. You were drawn here by your own level of awareness, by your readiness for this transformation. There's a video right here that dives even deeper into the practical application of these principles, showing you exactly how to implement what you've learned, starting today. Click and continue with me over there, because your transformation is just beginning.